You see how silly it is when you get in these little groups, these cliques? Fuck that shit. These guys sit around like a bunch of nerds, okay? Like they're trading Pokemon fucking cards. This is money. We're talking about money. I'm not here for friends. I don't give a fuck if you like my trades. I don't care if you love my trades. I'm here to make money. I'm here to teach you how I make money. If you don't like that, then go somewhere else. Play fucking Pokemon in Discord. I don't give a shit. But here, if you're trading with a losing trade, the next trade, you're half the leverage. Make half that losing trade that you took 1% loss on, make that back. As soon as you do that, that's a reset. Now you can go back to trading with 1% risk again. But wait a minute, Michael, I'm in drawdown still a 0.5%. Right. Yep. That's what I do. That's what I do. Now, what happens if you lose again? You drop your risk in half again, and you trade until you get half of that losing trade back. And then you close the trade. That frees you up to go back to what? 1% or 0.5%. Once you get down to 0.25%, there's really nothing, in my opinion, it's worth taking. But what that does, it causes your drawdowns to be less and less and less, and it allows you to reset emotionally and psychologically, because it takes the sting away. If you're wrong, if you're impulsive, if you rush back in to try to do something, it is a fail switch to keep you from blowing the fuck out. Because you will, if you don't do these things, you will, if you just go in there and say, okay, I don't care, and you get that gambler numbness. Anybody that's ever played cards or went to a casino, you're up, you made money, you've had an experience like that. You go home, they send you comps. Come on back. We love you. You took money from us. We love you as a customer. Come back here and stay in one of our really luxurious suites, and fuck, we'll give you a steak dinner, and here's 2 tickets to a show. Come on back. Have the whole weekend to yourself, because you are a customer that we love. And your dumbass believes that, so you fly out there, you go out there, and then you lose everything you fucking won the last time, and then more. What happened? You're sitting at the table. You know damn well you shouldn't have came back out there. 2, you shouldn't have stayed as long as you did. And you knew right when you should have stopped. But you don't. And you lose. And you lose again. And then you lose again. And all of a sudden you think to yourself, well, fuck it. You know, I got $1,000 still in chips here. I'm just going to play until I fucking lose. I don't care. That's gambler numbness. That's what trading sometimes does or occurs to people that just cannot stay focused. And what happens is you're just waiting for that chance turnaround. And when it does, few and far between, there's an instance where that occurs. But when it happens, what that does is it gives you that little bit of dopamine. Boom. All of a sudden, oh, shit. Look out, ladies. Holy shit. Look who just stepped in. It's Money Man. It's Mr. Maven. It's fucking Mr. Market Maker. ICT's nobody compared to you now. You got it all figured out, because that chemical imbalance kicks in, and everybody has this. You don't have to be bipolar to experience this. That feeling of I'm on now. I'm on. But it doesn't happen. But if it does happen, that's when you start betting bigger, because you think you've turned the tide. And now the gods of the odds have now shined their light on you and given you their favor. And the only thing they've given you is a shift in your perspective. Because see, what you think is good is just really their boot going up your ass. You have no idea what's about to happen to you. And then boom, your $1,000 is gone. And on the flight home from the casino, and you've lost more than you brought, because you couldn't take that. You had to go and get more money out of your ATM and more money out of your ATM. Because, hey, it's still Saturday night and you got another night to sleep up there for free, right? And you fly home with less money than you had before you went out there and won by luck. See, all these things, these take place all the time, every single day. And it took place a lot, I guarantee you, in so many people's minds today. If they have somehow dodged that big drop in the morning, They were in there playing around. They were in there trying to do something they're not equipped to do. And they can't manage themselves. They can't manage their emotions. They can't manage their psychology. And I know enough about myself to know that I would have done more than I should have today. And it probably wouldn't have been as good as I would have wanted it to be, because I went in with the wrong expectations. I'm going to come in there, Mr. Market Maven. And that volatility today said, sit the fuck down, boy. You ain't ready. You ain't ready for this. Sit down. Just shut your fucking mouth. You just sit right there and you just watch and be thankful you're not in here. And guess what? I knew better. I turned the charts off. I walked away from that. And I came back later on and I saw that it had completely went right back up, closed in the gap, the liquidity void, used as support, as I mentioned, and then vaulted above the high, and then just kept digging in higher. So to me, I think that anyone listening to what Corbs shares with his, I know he's been trading for a while. I think he's mentioned he's been doing it for a few years, but I think he's really at a stage where he's really now taking it serious in terms of his development. Because I asked him, I said, what's your goal? And he wants to be a 7-figure trader. And the things he's enduring right now are many times the barrier that prevents that very thing. And most people can't get through it. They can't press through it. And what I talked about in this Twitter space here in terms of managing your risk, dropping it down and make half of the previous loss back, then reset to what the previous loss leverage was. That gives you that little bit of a cookie, which is what we need, okay? As humans, we need that little reward, that little nudge that we're doing it right. That cookie, that attaboy, that pat on the shoulder, okay? And like in karate and martial arts, okay? All these fucking belt colors and shit. Why? Because they got to keep you paying. They got to keep you feeling like you're rewarded, okay? And most real martial arts didn't have all that shit. That's an Americanized thing. They bastardized the entire martial arts by having these belt systems. And in trading, you have to have that Miyagi experience, okay? You have to have that where you're working your ass off. You're out there, you're sanding the fence and you're painting the fence. You're waxing the cars. ICT's talking to you and putting you through all this bullshit discussions. This doesn't mean anything to me. Tell me how to buy and sell. Tell me when to get in, when to get out. How the fuck do I know how to do this? You're talking all this bullshit. You're talking about a house I can't live in. What the fuck's this got to do with anything? It has everything to do with it. So you don't think you're learning anything right now, but when you put yourself in that situation, now because I'm talking to you like this, you're going to say, you know what? This is exactly like that motherfucker said. That old motherfucker, 50 years old, had a clue. He did know what he was talking about. He knew exactly what he's talking about, because I'm feeling that shit right now. I feel like I need to get out there and break somebody's fucking head in this market because I have something to prove. I got a chip on my shoulder. I have a reason to be violent in these marketplaces. And bringing violence to the market, well, you're just asking for your ass to get beat, because believe me, the gang in the market is always going to outnumber you. It's always going to outnumber you when you go in like a vigilante. If you go in there with that vigilante mindset, you're going to be the Punisher. No, you're going to go home in a fucking ambulance. Okay, that's the way it's going to happen. You're going to lose your ass going in there like that, because you're trying to do something with an outcome in mind that's not guaranteed. And you're blinded by your rage or your fit. Okay, you're all pent up like I was. I have been you see how quiet I've been recently on Twitter? Like somebody the other day said, your music selection. What the fuck's going on with this? I played that beautiful song that it's a female artist, and it's a very moving song to me. I loved it, and I was in my feels that day. I was thinking to myself, what if I don't get this house? And what if I don't get this house? Number one, my wife's going to be upset because she loves this house. Now, don't get me wrong. I love the house. I think it's a beautiful home. It's, you know, there's certain things I wanted, and there isn't that in this property. But my wife, when we went through it, she was like, Michael, please, please, can I have this? I was like, oh, guys, what do you do in that situation? And you can't win that. You can't fucking win that. So I was like, okay, well, let's see if, we can work it out. So I offered them 1.8 million. Of course, they rejected that. And I came up to 1925, which is what they allowed for the other offer, but didn't give them a contract. Like, they didn't sign a contract, but they were going to accept his 1925 if they provided a contract or an offer, written offer, but they didn't do it. But I came in with 1975 because I asked them, I said, listen, I'm all cash, no contingencies. Like, I will buy this house, no waiting. Like, I own real estate. I don't need to sell shit. I'm buying outright. You tell me what your lowest that you're taking right now, and nobody else can take any of your attention away. Like, I'm going to be the one. They said 1975, and the house will be yours. So I said, okay. And in an hour, we had the offer in their hands, and they signed it. Okay. And then this asshole comes and does all that. So since like the first week of September, I have been very difficult to be around in my personal life. I've been very, very hard to deal with personally if you were around me. I've been very short. My wife has been careful to be around me. My children have been very careful around me. And I have not had any kind of real interactions with anyone else. And that kind of mindset, partially, is what motivated me to do what you've seen recently, where you saw me doing like $13,000 trades, $12,000, $10,000 trades. That was me in there doing a little bit more than I usually do, because obviously I've been teaching you to do these models that are, try to get 5 handles and be fine. You're all asking like, can you just show the model? Can you do that? I just feel like I got to do more. And that's why I was doing that. But today I was really going in there with kind of like a gladiator mindset. And because I'm imbalanced over all the bullshit, I wanted to release. Okay. I wanted to release. I wanted to be able to discharge. I haven't been able to talk to anybody because it wouldn't have been as therapeutic as this one feels for me. And I understand some of you that haven't been trading long enough. None of this probably makes any sense to you. And maybe they've probably turned the Twitter space off. But I promise you, okay, Mark Douglas doesn't touch anything like this in his book. Okay. It's not a popular way of discussing human frailty. And I'm a human, and I have a lot of frailty because I'm imbalanced. And I feel, well, I can feel elated 1 second, and then I can feel rage within 30 seconds. And sometimes I can feel myself swinging chemically back and forth, all within a 5-minute period. And that volatile state of mind where I wish I could articulate what that feels like. It's a miserable experience. And that's what my life has been. Like, I have lived with this, and it's very, very hard to deal with. And sometimes I foolishly went into the marketplace in my manic episodes. And sometimes I've gone into the marketplace trading where I was euphoric. And both of those times I have had dismal results because I'm reacting to the stimuli of being in that market experience. Whereas if I am trying to, like, that's why I meditate. Okay. I meditate, I exercise, I lift weights, I do stretching, I do all those things because if you look at the schedule I tweeted and the things I do and how I eat and all that stuff, I have to adhere to that schedule. If I don't adhere to that schedule, I cannot do well in the marketplace, because if I'm in a trade, I'm going to think about how I did not do this part of my routine.